Hello and welcome to my channel, Surviving the Narcissist. I'm Wanda. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor, thriver, and now an overcomer. And the purpose of this channel is to help you. And we look at narcissism from a personal, professional, and spiritual perspective. This video is going to focus on the 5 types of narcissists. Um, no two narcissists are exactly alike, and narcissism is on a spectrum. So the lower end of the spectrum may be people that have narcissistic traits, and it goes all the way up to the malignant narcissist, which is the worst narcissist. They're the devil. A person who constantly seeks attention, is self involved, and craves praise may be considered a narcissist, but that's on a lower level. They may exhibit some behaviors of narcissistic personality disorder because narcissistic personality disorder is what is the clinical term for narcissism. But because my video channel is based on my personal experience, even though I'm professionally trained as a social worker and I'm a certified life coach, we don't need to know whether they have a diagnosis. We're looking at the behavior and the abuse and how it affected us as the target, the black sheep, or the scapegoat. Um, Having some narcissistic traits does not necessarily mean they are diagnosed. So that's why I want to stay away from the clinical and just do the personal, my professional experience working with narcissists and victims of narcissistic abuse, flying monkeys, and a spiritual perspective. Because we're mind, body, and spirit. So everything affects our spirit. And this world is spiritual. Narcissism is a personality trait that ranges along a spectrum. So for this particular video, we're going to focus on the 5 types of narcissism. So the overt narcissist is probably what most people think of when they think of someone as being narcissistic. They may be overbearing, extroverted, egotistical, and obsessively competitive, cutthroat competitive. Everything's a competition. Their behavior is obvious. So that's what overt means. It's obvious. So some other signs of a overt narcissist is a deep desire for praise and compliments, attention seeking, an inflated sense of self-esteem, overestimation of their capabilities, intelligence, and abilities, interpersonal dominance. They are control freaks. They want to dominate. And an inability to empathize with others. They're cold, they're rootless, they're heartless. Their hearts are wicked, and they're wicked people. Narcissists are wicked people. They're insensitive to the needs of others because everything's about them. They're arrogant. They have to be the big person in the room. They're entitled. So next is the covert narcissist. So a covert narcissist, so covert is undercover. But even though they're undercover, they have narcissistic behavior, when we say a narcissist, as I said earlier, we're talking about the behavior, not the diagnosis of a narcissistic personality disorder, which is a clinical disorder that is in the DSM-5, which is what is used when you go to professional therapists. You have to have a diagnosis in order to say that the treatment is a medical necessity. So a lot of times you might have narcissistic personality disorder, but a lot of narcissism comes out of you were abused by a narcissist. So you may be a flying monkey. So a flying monkey might be diagnosed as complex PTSD. Because if you have been through narcissistic abuse, you do have PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder. And complex is for people that are narcissistic abuse survivors, because the narcissism is from the cradle to the grave. You might not have been wanted when you were born. And when you were in your mother's womb, you felt that. That was the first narcissistic abuse. And then when the narcissist passes or is no longer in the earth realm, their spirit is still carried on through their flying monkeys. That's why they make flying monkeys, because as they get older, they might have a lot of health challenges and they really can't. They might be autistic. They forget, excuse me, they might have Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's, they might forget things, but their flying monkeys never forget. And I might have mentioned autism because people who have disabilities are targets to be flying monkeys. And they are targets of abuse because they can't defend themselves. So they may be the scapegoat. Well, you know, this person has this disability, so they could be the scapegoat because they're vulnerable. So a covert narcissist can be thought of as the opposite of an overt narcissist. Their behavior is much less obvious and more subtle, but it's still abuse. Covert narcissists don't behave loudly, nor are they outgoing. They are still highly focused on themselves, self-centered, with a thirst of praise for others. And if you let a narcissist make you their flying monkey, you will be their favorite. So that's how they get praise and attention for others, is that they're people pleasers. They're flying monkeys. They never say no. They never disagree. They never stand up for themselves. They're just a doormat or a flunky for the narcissist. Uh, their need for admiration may manifest as giving backhanded compliments. They may throw shade and say it was a joke. They have difficulties taking criticism. That's why they can't take no, because they don't believe in constructive criticism. Well, I'm telling you about this because I care about you, because I want you to get better. Well, that's totally out of their frame of reference, because they think that they don't need to be better. What's wrong with me? They often play the victim. That's a form of manipulation. They're the aggressor. They are not the victim. They're passive aggressive. They look passive, but they're very aggressive, because that's how they fool people. Not that sweet, innocent person. Shames and blames others for their mistake. So if they make a mistake, it's your fault. It's the weather's fault. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. It's just like when I'm driving to work in the morning, people know it's traffic. So instead of getting up and planning for the traffic, they do road rage. They're all up on your bumper. They're cutting in and out of traffic. They're behind you beeping. I'm like, well, I leave my house early enough. I don't have to drive crazy to get to work on time. Poor self-esteem, insecure, and low confidence. And I gave that example about the traffic because narcissism or a narcissist, that's their personality. So you see it in the home. You see it how they treat people on the highway. You see how they treat people at work. You see how they treat people at church, in the family. So the behavior is consistent. It's just that being aware of it, because that's one of the keys to protecting yourself from abuse, If a person is exhibiting that behavior, stop saying, I don't believe they meant that, or I don't think they know what they're doing. A narcissist knows what they're doing. They're very aware of what they're doing. They're the abuser. You're the victim or the target, but you want to get off of the bullseye. You don't want to be the target. You want to go from a survivor, a thriver, and an overcomer. Communal narcissism. This is a type of overt narcissism. And when they say communal narcissism or communal narcissists will claim to have a strong moral code with a belief in fairness, but not behave according to their belief. And that's what you see in abusive churches or in spiritual abuse. They quote the Bible, but they don't live the Bible. They say they represent Jesus, but Jesus came to set the captive free, but they have you in bondage to a religious system. So that's communal narcissism. And everybody, the flying monkeys, go along with whatever the leader says. So if you have any questions, you're in disobedience. I can't ask a question. Well, in communal narcissists, no, you can't. Just get with the program and get in line. Another antagonistic narcissism. So this is research. There is some research that suggests there is a subtype of overt narcissism called antagonistic narcissism, and it is characterized by the following signs: highly competitive, extreme focus on rivalry. They pit everybody against everybody. A tendency to disagree and argue. Everything's an argument. Well, you know what? I think I should maybe take my umbrella because it might rain. No, the weatherman said that it wasn't going to rain. Why are you going to take your umbrella? You shouldn't take your umbrella. I mean, just everything's an argument. And the purpose is to wear you down and to devalue you. Because eventually you think that, well, okay, what's the big deal if I want to do this? But because they're always arguing and disagreeing, it erodes or chips away at your self-esteem. And then you don't think that your thoughts and feelings are valuable. So you have to defer to the narcissist. Well, what do you think? Well, I shouldn't have to ask you what you think about me taking the umbrella. Well, what do you think? I want to, do something else. What do you think? Of course, major decisions, you do need wise counsel. But everyday decisions, you shouldn't have to defer to another adult, and you're an adult. You're not a child. That's why my videos are for adults. Because I understand that you are under the authority of your parents if you're a child. And the Bible does say, train up a child in the way he should go. So your training, you do have people that are responsible for your training and your mentoring. So if you have a mentor, why pay your mentor and not listen to him? If you have a therapist, why pay your therapist and not listen to him? If you have a life coach. But the purposes of these relationships are not to control you or mind control or to be a little G, a little God in your life, or to be an idol. It's to help you get better. They take advantage of others. People that are highly competitive are ruthless. Because people that are highly competitive, how they compete is they will use anything. They will use your kids for information. They will use Facebook. That's why I'm very careful what I post online. They will use anything against you to quote unquote win. And I'm like, what is the competition? I'm just trying to be the best Wanda that I can be. I'm just trying to be in the will of God. My goal is to work on whatever I need to work on for 2024. It's not a competition because I am enough and you're enough. You might not have the same goals for 2024. That's why I don't call them resolutions. I call them goals or steps to wholeness or wellness. Well, you might not have the same step, you might not have the same goals because you don't have the same challenges. So what are we competing about? Difficulty or lack of forgiveness in others, no grace, because that's how they can abuse you. Because I cannot believe that you can see somebody as a person, as a human being, as a child of God, and abuse them. So part of it is you have to say they deserve to be a victim. And that goes along with a lack of forgiveness and not being able to forgive or no grace, no second chances. Issues trusting others. Well, if you're an antagonistic narcissist, the issue in trusting others is not from the standpoint if you were the victim or the scapegoat, target, black sheep, because you shouldn't trust them. But they're saying that maybe an antagonistic narcissist, because they don't trust others, they use that to justify what they do. I'm going to get them before they get me. So it's kind of like identification with your oppressor. So if you were a victim or a scapegoat or the black sheep, that's what you became. You became what you saw. You became how you were treated. Overt narcissists are social and outgoing. Antagonistic narcissists may have trouble maintaining social connections with others. Next is the malignant narcissist. This is the most severe type of narcissism. So they consider that professionals in the mental health field consider that a mixture of narcissism and antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder is what is commonly known as a sociopath. Malignant narcissism is considered a severe condition, but is no uh, test or assessment that can identify malignant narcissists. So the identification comes when you have contact with them. So that's why it's difficult. They act aggressively with others. They're sadistic. They take pleasure in the pain of others. They get happy. They are very, very happy when bad things happen to people. They're very, very vindictive. They will pay you back if you cause a narcissistic injury. And we'll talk about that in future videos. They have zero tolerance for criticism. And they can't handle criticism. You cannot tell them no. They will go to flying monkeys. They will make a flying monkey. They will not let it go until they quote unquote win. So when I was growing up in a narcissistic family, I would just hurry up and agree. I'm not saying that's the best tool, but I'm like, you're not going to emotionally abuse me. You're not going to keep beating on me for no reason, getting spankings for no reason. You're not going to have people ganging up on me because I disagree. Because disagreeing is a form of criticism of them, not you have your own mind, you have your own personality. I'm not an extension of you. So that is, I don't think I did all five because then the next one says narcissism versus narcissistic personality. And I got this from Very Well Mind. And the person that wrote the article is Catherine Chan. And so I will look at it from a personal, spiritual perspective. Because if you are being abused by the narcissist, it doesn't matter if it's a personality disorder or not. Because you're the one that's being abused, you're the one that's suffering. So, but it does say that it is a distinction between narcissism and a narcissistic personality disorder. But don't let the narcissist gaslight you and manipulate you with that. Because narcissists are very intelligent people. They play dumb, but they're not dumb. They play crazy, but they're not crazy. A lot of times that is a way for you to let your guard down and to trust them. So focus on the behavior and don't focus on the diagnosis. And if you received anything that you find was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for watching my video. And if you want to learn more or want to see if you want to work with me as a coach, please visit the website www.visionofrecovery. And thank you again.